Dungeons and Dragons. We all love it, we all play it, we all use it to enact our odd fantasies onto our poor DMs who have to suffer through it. It's a fun time, especially fun for artists like myself, who get to take their characters and actually take the lives that we've breathed into them and bring them to life. Way more so than any other D&D player ever could, unless obviously they were to commission it from another artist. But we have free reign to breathe even more life into our characters than we can even imagine. But that's not what we're going to be talking about today. DAGGERHEART! DAGGERHEART, the RPG system created by God's perfect villain and his team. I've actually had the pleasure of trying this bad boy out. We're not going to be talking about it, like the game or anything like that. No. Today, I am going to be designing and drawing characters that my siblings have made. I've been trying to get my siblings into D&D for a long while, but I felt that D&D was always way too complicated and way too out there for them to practically try it without generating some sort of interests within themselves. So I thought that I'm already trying DAGGERHEART, I might as well go ahead and when it comes here, I'll persuade them to get them to join. And they did. It actually wasn't that difficult. And it just so happens that I have a world for them to carry out their adventures on and explore. So today, I'm gonna be drawing their characters. Roll the intro! Before we actually get into this, I would like to quickly mention that I made these drawings when I was fatigued. If you're wondering what I meant by fatigue, I was drawing and designing doing my own personal thing off to the side for that whole entire day, and then I had the brilliant third eye opening idea that I can turn them, like their characters, me making their characters, into a video and milk my siblings for content. So I'm gonna be a little fatigued, and therefore these drawings aren't gonna be that great. But I will be finishing off the video, may or may not actually, depending on how long the painting takes me. I haven't even started on it yet, but I do plan to make a full-on illustration with their characters in a nice action scene. So you may or may not see it, and if not, then it'll be out the next time as a time lapse. Out of respect for their privacy, I'm not going to actually name my siblings here. I will refer to them promptly as Alex and Tamil Kings. And for those of you who do know who my siblings are, you'll see why Tamil Kings is a fucking hilarious idea for my sister. So without further ado, I think it's about time to actually start the damn thing. You don't need to keep looking at me. Look away. So for Alex's character, he went with a Ridgeborn Dracona, which in my world, the dragon people are called Yugons. And the class he went with is a primal origin sorcerer with the abilities Pick and Pull and the spell of Rune Ward. And as you can see, the first thing that I needed to work out was his face, because their faces are the main things that like have the most change, and I don't know how to draw dragons. Here is a picture of the most recent dragon character I made, or not made, just drew. It is hard. Dragons are fucking difficult, wouldn't you believe it? So you're gonna see me struggle a couple of times with these concepts, but I knew the color scheme going in. He gave me the exact sort of details to what his characters are and what a lot of his backstory would shape him to be. But mainly the notes that he gave me to work out were a black and purple dragon character with mage robes. The robes that he have is more of an aesthetic choice rather than a mechanic choice. The armor that he chose, or that he had for his character, is leather armor. So you can see that I draw that when I actually get to the outfit. After a while, I landed on something decent. I learned that from the last one, you gotta start with a pretty broad shape and then cut into that to sculpt the face to the way you want to. So the outfit was actually not too difficult. He gave me a bunch of good references for the outfit that he picked out, and as for the colors, that was a little bit tricky considering that he was at work for the most part while I was designing this, so I didn't actually have him next to me. I had to take pictures and send it out and such like that, and it was more of like a character creation video game style, but it went pretty well, and we landed on a design that is actually quite nice. Now, the weapon that we chose to design was actually quite interesting. The thing I knew is that he wanted a staff that sort of twists around at the ends, sort of like the actual staff is encompassing the power source that is causing his staff to be there. And I thought for a couple of times what I wanted to go for, and I eventually landed on a dragon head. And the head of the dragon, the top part of his head, being the horns, but they're like circling around each other, circling around the power orb. So that's what I eventually went with, and I had the brilliant idea of having the dragon's mouth being open and having the rod stick through it. Poor dragon, he's being deep-throated. After I had a simplified sort of design to the outfit and his face and everything, I went on to line it up. As you can see, it started out very, very, very simple, like the sleeves had nothing on it, but I eventually took the time. I also wanted to mention that the color of the robe here, the gold on the robe, he eventually wanted it to be changed to silver rather than gold, which honestly, I fair play to him, I guess. I personally like the gold because it's a complementary color scheme with the yellow and purple. I thought it looked good, but he didn't. But I don't. It's his character. He does understand color theory. So I eventually did change it to silver, but you won't be able to see it in the footage. You'll see it when I have the full character up. Alright, I'd say that that's a nice character that we've come up with. Now we can move on to the second one, made by Tamil Kings. So the character Tamil Kings made was a Sly-born Infernus, also known as Diaboli in my world. The class that she chose was the Call of the Brave Warrior, with the abilities of Get Back Up and Untouchable. Now I will say that this character is way easier to design because it made me feel nostalgic back in the days where I used to draw Hilera all the time. I don't think I've introduced Hilera on this channel, but she was my first, not necessarily the first, but I don't really count the other one. Fuck out of here, Tenshimar. Hilera was like my first real D&D character that I made that was original. And back in those days, I would draw her countless times. So needless to say, this was a cakewalk, which is why I went through it so much faster. The first thing I had to really work out with was her body shape and her outfit. Her body shape, my sister wanted to have a sort of thinner upper body with a thicker thigh and lower body in general. And the outfit she chose was... it was very skimpy, to say the least. Nowadays, I try to stray away from this costume design choice, mainly because it's so incredibly not practical. I did this a lot, and that is exactly what Hilera used to wear. It is not a great design choice to do that, and it's also just so unoriginal because it's been done before. I just prefer to go with fully outfitted characters with actual practical uses for their outfits. But my sister is a different breed, and she doesn't really understand that sort of mindset. And she loves sexy demons. So, who can fault her for it? But I will say that that makes my job way easier because there's less to draw. Now, as for her weapons, the weapon she chose was she decided to go for a halberd, and I actually quite think that this halberd is one of my favorite weapons that I've designed, mainly because the axe itself looks like horns that have been just sort of fused together at the end, and it's where you get to the tip of the spear, and the tail of the halberd is where it gets interesting, because the tip of the halberd, where the spear point is, that looks like demon horns. And when she's holding the halberd up, like straight up, you see her demon horns alongside their demon horns, like the ones that are on the halberd. But then when you get to the lower part, that is where it looks more like a demon tail. And that is also the same position where you would see her demon tail. So it's sort of like the character design matches the actual design of the weapon. They're meant to be viewed at the same time. And I think that that's pretty fucking cool. And you want to know what's so crazy? Is that I designed those unintentionally. I managed to do that without any sort of precognition when I was making it. I did not think of it. It was only after I colored the entire thing is when I noticed, oh shit, it's the same. So I guess it can safely be said that my character design prowess is just so magnificent that I don't even have to think of it. The next thing she went with was a whip. Ow, my ancestors. But honestly, I can see why she would choose that, because usually when you think of hell and you think of the subjugation of multiple souls, you would think of a... yeah, you know. Nothing to really explain there. I just decided to put the two things she mainly wanted on the whip was, because I mean you can't really, like, there's only a certain amount of ways you can design a handle with a string attached to it. She wanted horns on the end of it, and she wanted the little ribbon part at the end of the rope of the whip to be colored to resemble fire. So it would have like a red base and a yellow outward appearance, so that way when she's like whipping it and she's like about to bring hellfire down on people, it would look like they're being hit with fire. Pretty cool. And also she wanted some fur, so just to fit with that barbarian sort of aesthetic, and she decided to go with green, which works complementary wise, but I don't know if I would have gone with green to, like, I would have probably just stuck with the earthy colors and having red as the predominant color there. But it works complementary wise. I tried to dull it down to make it so that it's less vibrant. She, however, wanted to go with neon green hair strands and a neon green color with the fur. She, however, wanted to go with neon green hair strands and a neon green fur color. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? How are you gonna have this bright ass red and then you're gonna have a bright ass neon green color with it? If you're gonna have a complementary color scheme, you do not have those colors be at the same saturation, because then they fight with each other. Like, while yes, they go together great, you don't have them at full saturation battling with each other. No, that's not how that works. You gotta have one be the main actor and you have one be the side character to make the main actor look good. That's just color theory. Much like with Alex in his color scheme when I had to change the gold to silver. I forget my siblings aren't colorists or just artists in general. It's not my character, so it's not something that I would make. It's their character. They can do whatever they want. I'm just making jokes. But I just thought it was funny to point out that they had something to say regarding the color. But moving on. But as I clean this up, we are going to finalize the design and we will get into using these characters in a full-on painting. That is, if I finish the painting before I actually upload the video. If not, then ignore what I just said. I'd say that was a success. Overall, I think that the designs came out relatively good, especially considering the time that I actually put in here. Considering the time that I spent on them, they actually turned out quite well, I think. These weren't just designs that I was making up on the spot and me as a character designer trying to go through the iterations and go through the different processes for the actual design from scratch. These were given to me by other people. So it went by quite quickly. So I think it was a success. By the way, I wanted to mention that I did not finish the painting in time for this video. So I'm gonna be just finishing it all next week, and then I'll upload it week after that so that I can spend more time on it. I'm kind of glad that I didn't get it out like right now, because I wanted to take my time with it and I didn't want to rush it for the video. But overall, success. I quite like them. My siblings, they liked them. It was a good time. But I would like to take this time to say thank you for making it this far into the video. If you couldn't tell, I did a little extra editing for this one. I'm quite proud of it, actually. I learned how to do green screen. Who would have thought? It's the most basic shit, but I've always wanted to know how to do it, and I did it. So the videos from here are gonna get better, most likely, if I'm not lazy. I would like to say that if you are into D&D, we have a D&D channel. I don't really mention it in these videos, I just leave the link down there for in case anybody wants to. But go watch it if you want to, I'm not your dad. I also wanted to formally make my announcement here that I am going to be posting more on Instagram. These past 5 months, I've just been making tons and tons of things regarding my world building project, just illustrations, character design sheets, and character designs in general. So I'm gonna have a lot of content to be posting for the next few months, and it's gonna be interesting. So I'll also leave my Linktree down below, even though I always do, but I'm gonna leave it here. Tell me what you think about the characters in the comments. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Leave a like if you liked it, leave a dislike if you disliked it, and leave a big fat fuck you in the comments. You know the drill. You can check out my character design series or any other parts of my ROARIX playlist. It'll be all down there as well. Thank you guys for your support, and I will see you all in the next one. For those of you still around after the credits, I started reading Dune. I quite like it. I'm actually in the middle. Fuck.